So, welcome back to my becoming, the decade of me being inside the coaching industry as a mentor, as a leader, specializing now more on emotional mastery. And what I've been doing is I've been reflecting on everything that I've ever been through. And I want you to also make a little state of awareness. Like if you watch the first view from the stripy top to the yellow outfit to now, can you sense a difference in my tonality? Can you sense a difference in my presence? Because I tell you something, these videos have not only just been for you, but these have been super therapeutic for me. Because when you are fully in your power and you're recognizing yourself where you've leaked, and you take a look back and you analyze it and you break it down and you release it, you let it go, you start shifting the dynamics of your presence. You start shifting the way you hold yourself. And like, I love getting dolled up. Now, I said at the beginning, and I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to be like a model. I'm not going to be like on a runway. But actually, I've been obsessed with Sex and the City, and I'm like, I'm getting dressed up. I'm wearing what makes me feel good. And so, my message for you in this before I begin with what year are we in now? We are in what year? We're year nine. Oof, 9 videos already. My message for you here is that you're allowed to speak. You are allowed to share what you've been through. You are allowed to look at past events, maybe feel a little bit sad or down or vulnerable, but look at the wisdom that you've gained. Look at the knowledge that you've acquired. And most importantly, look at the growth that you have developed in. So I'm Sam Evans. Welcome to my YouTube channel at Sam Evans Official. And if you haven't watched the other videos, by all means, go ahead. There's messages in all of them. You don't need to go and watch them in any particular order. But what I did is I ended the last video at 2023 where I've been stuck with horrific grief. I've been struck with horrific grief and I actually shed a little tear. And even though I've had those tears and I was in this place of really feeling burnt out and exhausted, I had no idea what to do in 2024. So consciously I'd said my training academy has shut down. Consciously I said that I'm going to no longer build my business. But unconsciously, I was still pushing myself to build. Now, you may think that doesn't make any sense. Well, that's because I had trained my unconscious to such a high level of emotional mastery that even though if I say something, I go and do the exact opposite. So most people look for motivation. They look for being able to get to that next level. And you train your unconscious. Well, my unconscious was already trained. But the thing was, is that I kept saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And unconsciously, I kept pushing myself. So I'm in this group program. And I thought to myself, let's just keep going, constantly in my tears, first quarter of the year. And they was like saying to me, you need to message people, you need to DM people. And I'm kind of like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. If somebody random knocked on my door and said, hey, would you mind if I moved in? No, I don't know you. Like, let's be real here. I'm not going to let a random stranger move in. Of course, I will give to people. Of course, if anybody needed money, I would give it to them. I really would. If I saw someone outside and they needed money, I would give it to them. I'd listen. I'd do that. But the thing is, I'm not going to jump into other people's territory. I'm not going to say, hey, I've got an offer. Do you want to buy? No, I'm not doing that. Hey, I want to have a random conversation. No. And I'll tell you why. Because I had that happen to me just a couple of weeks ago, where a woman came into my inbox and she basically said that because I didn't respond to her, and I wasn't going to buy her product, even though she hadn't directly sold to me. She says, "Well, maybe growth isn't right for you right now, babe." And it still cracks me up because I still can't believe she thought that she could do that to me. But my point is that I wasn't going to do that. So here I am in the beginning of the year, and I had someone look at my copy and write like someone else, and I would have done anything just for my sales to increase. But you know what? Between January to July, I had zero sales. I had the odd silent counseling certification sales, I had the odd mini program sales, but no big amount of money. But I had my full-time contract. And I was just pushing in that job. And you know what I said? I thought, well, maybe I'm just not supposed to coach anymore. Maybe I'm just supposed to work in this full-time position. And I actually thought I was going to get promoted for, I can't remember, I think it was a team lead or whatever it was, but I didn't because I thought I could do it. And I felt really gutted. But in that moment, that's when I realized this is not for me. Training academy is not for me. Being a tutor is not for me. And I would have done anything just for someone to tell me I'm going to be okay. Because what was going on was my body was completely shut down. I didn't allow myself um to heal the grief. I shut myself down. And so I went to my osteopath and she basically said to me, Sam, you are on the brink of you're on the brink of chronic fatigue. Your body's showing all the signs and symptoms. And she released everything for me. And I was kind of like, I've got no idea what to do. But that job kept me safe. I was in a very safe place. And I'm glad I had that because I didn't realize what I was actually doing is I was shedding my old identity. See, my grandfather was more like my dad, and he was my backup. He was always there. He was my biggest fan. He was my supporter, and he was always checking in on me. And I hadn't realized that despite doing all of this inner work, I was still had that inner child connection where I needed protection. And we are all divinely protected. I do believe that we're always guided, we're always protected. And by being able to recognize that, I realized that actually, despite the sadness and the tears and losing someone you love so dearly, it was actually a rebirth for me. I realized that my identity was still the inner child, the happy child who always had my granddad there, my biggest fan. And even though I'd done all this inner work and although I'd done all of this other stuff, there was parts of me going, yeah, but what about the Sam before the inner work? What decisions would she make? Because do you know the drive and passion I had before my 30s was incredibly powerful. I was relentless. If I wanted something, I'd go and get it. If I wanted to be something, I'd go and be it. If I needed to do something, I'd go and be it. Yes, I was emotional and I was erratic, but there was nothing stopping me. So, what is it that stops you from achieving the things that you want? Absolutely nothing, except for the inner voice. Because when you start changing lanes and you start driving a new vehicle, you're not going to know which way to go because your emotions will also get the better of you. So here I am, it's 2024, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So I jumped into this 5 day challenge. And during this 5 day challenge, I felt really called to work and rebuild my Authentically Aligned program. Now, this program was built on the back end of my EQ mastery, my EQ readings. I was using them, I was going through the pillars and helping people, and I was growing it, I was developing it. I'd done the EQ Mastery Coach certification, but I still did the training program because I wanted to have both levels. So I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to do the challenge again, but I'm going to do it differently. And I was like, I'm going to charge £11. And just as I'm about to get it all out there, launch it, somebody used the word authentically aligned, and I was like, oh my God, that's my trademark. Anyway, she ended up blocking me, but I was actually really grateful for her because I realized actually I forgot to trademark it. Somebody else trademarked it. And instead of spiraling, I was like, I need to resolve this. What's kind of going on? And all this fire and all these emotions were coming up, and Authentically Ascend was born. So I launched Authentically Ascend, a 5 day challenge, and it was incredible. What I discovered was is the depth and growth of being able to bring in all of my knowledge and wisdom, the old framework of my cognitive switch, into this 5 part program, Authentic Ascension. So that basically means being able to rise authentically without the baggage of the past. And it was incredible. The results were phenomenal. One person said, I've never experienced anything like this. People were just manifesting, materializing, sorting so much stuff out. It was gold. And then what I did is I offered lifetime access. I thought, brilliantly, I want to launch this again. But then what I also realized is actually there is a next phase, the transcendent phase, which was called Ignite Your Power. Now, 2023, I actually changed the way I taught EQ Mastery Coach. Rather than teach them how to use the readings and how to use the pillars, what I did was I taught them how to work on themselves first and then serve others. Put your mask on first before you serve others. So I took that training and I brought it back here and I broke it down. And I was like, right, instead of just calling it the boring stuff, the different levels, what kind of leadership is it? So there's authentic leadership, the aligned leadership, the inspirational, the influential, the transcendent, and the revolutionary leader. And so this became a 6-month program. And the women in it went through so much transformations. When I mean I gave all of it in this program, every single month, people had breakthroughs, challenges, group calls, and gave guided audio. So it was very indeed, very powerful. And it felt not only great for them, but I went through every phase with them. So even though it was a brand new program, yes, I had everything ready. I went through it. And what it allowed me to realize was just how powerful EQ is. I think my sales increased. I left the full-time contract. Everything began to change. I began to be in my power. I recognized I started to give my power away even more because I was asking for someone to give me permission. But the only person that gave me permission is God and me. So here I am. It's now 2024. What have I realized? The training academy is officially closed. Excuse me. The training academy is now officially closed. I've come to the realization that everything is evolving around EQ. Authentically Ascend is going to come back in 2025. Ignite Your Power is absolutely gold. And I'm just going to sell that as a digital program. And actually, I don't really need to be working with anyone right now. What I need to be doing is focusing on me. But what I didn't realize that I was doing is that I was still not fully allowing myself to raise my prices. I wasn't allowing myself to build the business at this new level. My nervous system hadn't caught up with this new identity. And so I'm just going to roll over into 2025 because 2024 was the year where I completely burnt my old identity. 2024 was the year that everything had to come up to the surface. It was the year of recognizing my emotions and, most importantly, closing doors that I was so afraid of letting go of. So here we are in 2025. What happened in 2025? 2025 was the year that I took my power back. 2025 was the year where I recognized that actually I no longer want to be on Facebook. 2025 was the year where I decided I don't need to keep selling a million offers. And so what I did is I watched every single one of my courses and programs that I created over the years, edited it, tweaked it, and created the Divine Boutique. The Divine Boutique is basically everything I've ever gone through, all of my experiences, all of my wisdom, everything that I've ever taught anyone in my life into one shop front. Because here's the thing is that when you want something, you know what you want. I like this blouse. I bought it because I like the color and I liked the style of it. I got it. And you are such a wonderful human being where you're like, "Do you know what? I want to go work on my money. Cool. Unlock your money block. I want to go work on my EQ. Cool. Go and get the six-figure mindset program, the ultimate empowerment. I want to go work on increasing my relationship with sales. Cool. Go and get falling in love with sales. There's something for everything in the business. You don't need to keep buying loads of different strategies. The only thing that you should be focused on is you. And there is a different technique for everything. And what I've done is I've added more depth into it, more hypnotherapy, guided audios, and subconscious reprogramming, nervous system regulation. So instead of just hearing things, you regulate it and embody it. So the Divine Boutique was built. I've decided I'm no longer going to be on Facebook. It's my reels still share over, and I'm going all on social Instagram. One minute I'm starting off with all of these funny reels, and my views and everything were really, really high. But then April, something happened, and I felt called to go into stillness. And as I went into stillness, I went back into scriptures, and there was chapters I kept being told to read, and everything was basically telling me that I haven't forgotten you. I am here. I am guiding you. I've got you. And the April and May, I just went into stillness. I was still showing up, but my identity had changed. How did it change? Well, instead of being, I'm someone who's done all the inner work and I know everything, I'm someone who's done my money mindset work. Here is a program for you. Instead of, I've got all of these different options. Instead of, I need to teach you what I learn. Instead of all of this stuff, I decided to take a look back at every single identity I'd ever had, and I collapsed every single boundary. I've learned to love every part of me before the inner work, the inner child, because in fact, my wisdom evolved the moment my granddad passed. It evolved because I had to learn to have my own back. I had to learn to rise and stand in my authority. I've had to learn to realize that actually I am not going to be for everyone. I've raised my one on one pricing. The only thing I'm going to be offering now is my one on one. And because I've been able to walk through my own fire, Exodus was officially born. Because here's the thing is that when they walked through to the other side and went to get the promised land, they had to wait patiently, but they didn't. They started to idolize. They broke down their belief system and having faith in the unseen. And this is where the cracks happen. So actually, I walked through my own exodus. And once they recognized where they had faulted, they were forgiven, they repented, they had the promised land. And so this is basically what I have been through. I have made every single mistake you can possibly think of. I have changed, digressed. I've gone to the Father. I used spiritual bypassing. I tried to control it with my own understanding. And then I had to come back home again. So it was a lot of toing and froing, a lot of toing and froing, a lot of toing and froing. Now, where am I? I'm at a place where I just want to focus on working with women like you on a one-on-one basis. Because here's the thing, is that you have an ability to create the life that you want when you're fully in your power. Your power is a blessing and it's a gift. And when you truly understand that with emotional mastery, you no longer make it outside of you and you no longer consume inside of you. You are just flawless. You're just flawless. You are limitless. So every year I made so many different changes, and I recognize today in this moment that every experience was here to help me be who I am today. Everything I've grown through was here to be who I am today. Now I'm in a place where I am ready to buy my house. Now I've been wanting a home for the longest time. The moment I started this video, I said I wanted a 5 bedroom detached house. We're now going to buy. It's taken me that long not only to develop myself, but to develop the ability to hold more wealth with certainty and responsibility. Because there's no point you asking for something and then you going off another pathway. There's no point you saying, I want, I want, I want, I want, and you're not knowing how to hold yourself in your power. It's not just nervous system regulation, it's the ability to hold yourself at the deep subconscious level. And when you do, everything is just peaceful. It's about learning how to say no. It's about learning how to grow. It's about learning how to navigate yourself without being disturbed by anything outside of you. It's about having deeper potency in your emotional mastery. This is why my EQ readings are available. This is why I create the Exodus Masterclass. This is why the one-on-one exists. And this is now going to be my purpose as God had intended. So year 10 was basically the year where everything had changed. EQ mastery is the backbone of my entire business. I finally found my best friend after all these years. I've launched a new property venture. We are finally moving. Everything is changing. Now, what's happening as everything is changing, my body is expanding. And the sooner I recognize when I feel these emotions, I recognize it, nip it in the bud, and do my inner work. I've created my own guided hypnotherapy audio set where I've been able to transform my own mind. And so now I recognize that when it comes to my one-on-one, it's not just a launch, it's a spiritual assignment. It's not just here's 12 steps to get to where you need to be. It's completely bespoke to every single leader that wants to rise in their power. And so now I look back and actually I go, I'm so grateful for my experience in network marketing because it introduced me to mindset. I'm so grateful for every move we've had because it allowed me to accept change. I'm so grateful for the pandemic because it allowed me to home educate my children. I am so grateful for my money stories and my debt because it's allowed me to manage wealth to a higher level and now launch a property business. I'm so grateful for every experience and errors I had as a one-on-one coach because now I have a bespoke program. I'm so grateful that I did all of these mini programs because I built the Divine Boutique. I'm so grateful I had a training academy because it's allowed me to be the absolute 100% expert in emotional mastery. I'm so grateful for every tear I've shed, every breakdown I've had, so then I can hold people in their power as I hold myself in mine. And that's the end of my journey. Sorry, that's not the end of my journey. It's the end of this series. My journey is continuous. My journey ends when I go. And I'm not gone yet. I'm here. So what I want to say to you is that this is the 10 years of my coaching journey, my evolution of who I am right now, and the wisdom that I now obtain, which is now available for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to really tune into these messages. And when you feel ready to have your very own empowered Exodus journey, then my one-on-one is for you. Watch the masterclass, book in for a frequency reading. These frequency readings allows me to see exactly what is holding you back, where you're leaking your power, and then we continue with the Exodus 12-week one-on-one recalibration. Because now I'm in a place where I'm no longer recalibrating to the identity where I hold wealth at a higher level. I'm fully in my power, and you deserve this too. This is the closure of my 10-year video, and if you're ready to walk this path, I'm here for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.